Seltzer Time!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. I couldn't reach for a Seltzer Time koozie, so I'm using a Get Up Kids koozie. It's your boy Ricky, aka Dick Chuck, aka the man behind the can at Seltzer Time Official. Here as always with my conversation accomplice, the man with the hunch about Worcester, Travis.
What is crackin' fizzle fiends? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast, and as always, we are delighted that you are with us. I like how you said "ma." It's the Seltzer Time podcast. There was a.
I did.
I think you did. I don't know. We'll hear it back in the edit.
Oh, I might have.
If he did it, he says it here. If not, then I just sound like an idiot.
It's your boy Ricky.
So this week on the show, we are talking to Ari Lewis, co-founder of Brand Street, digital marketing strategist, and we talk all about different ways to use social media, help influence new customers, I guess, and help grow your brand. Yeah, we're talking all the nerdy things that we love. It's about time that we had, a professional social media marketer on the podcast. Well, a second one anyway. Besides. But before we get there, y'all know what we have to do. Hey, Ricky, how was your week, buddy? Nice haircut.
Thanks, man. Shout out Harlan Barber, the absolute boy. I don't know why I keep saying that, but yeah, thanks, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Because that glass was full when we started and it's empty now and it's recording time.
Yeah, I made myself a walking old fashioned, a little reposado tequila, a little mezcal, some bitters, a little bit of agave to sweeten that bad boy up.
Little
all around, and here we are.
Glass straw because we're trying to save the animals.
Geez, always. So
what have you been up to, my dude?
I've been hanging out, man. I am back at work, which is fun. The Bruins started this week, which I'm really excited about. They're 1-1, but both games were awesome. They got a point out of both because it went to overtime. New Jersey's going to be great in like 2 years because all their kids are young, but they're really, really good. I'm just happy hockey's back. That's kind of like my main focus right now. What else did I do this week? Oh, dude, I got a Paul's Big Bird sandwich from Bagel Time.
Okay.
So real quick, shout out Bagel Time. They are the absolute coolest place in Worcester. They're the nicest human beings ever who own and run that spot. They're super great to us. They're super great to everybody across the board. Like in terms of like different groups of people I'm friends with in the city, everybody loves Bagel Time.
Everybody loves Bagel Time.
Everybody loves Bagel Time. They're the best. They're the absolute best. So I left from getting my haircut on Thursday. So I had a coffee from New Tradition, had this fresh cut, was on my way to work, was trying to figure out, what do I want to eat? I couldn't stop thinking about the Bagel Time Instagram post from like the day before that of this sandwich. And so I went there, even though it's like completely out of my way for where I was going, but I couldn't help myself. And I got a Paul's Big Bird. So it's like
that wasn't the day I saw you, was it?
No, you saw the day before. The day before that. Okay. Oh yeah, that was a different. Yeah.
No, we won't go down that road. I just wasn't sure if the Paul's Big Bird was able to usurp the other craving. But no, separate days.
So for those who don't know, I fucked up and had some Burger King last week. I'm not a fast food eater.
I wasn't trying to out you. I'm so sorry.
No, I have to. The people have to know. I started watching Silicon Valley, and in one of the episodes, the dude who in the first season, the guy who invests in them, drives by Burger King for the first time apparently, and decided he like sends an assistant to get everything. And I couldn't really stop thinking about Burger King after that happened. I needed to like kill the craving, so I got a cheeseburger and a large fry.
Did it work?
Killed the craving. I felt like absolute garbage the whole rest of the day. And I probably won't have fast food for another 8 months. I usually have it like once or twice a year. So the fact that I don't know, what day is it? It's like the 12th, 15th? 15th?
Is it the 15th already? It's the 17th.
17th. And I've had it once or twice. When did we do the chicken nugget thing?
Oh shit, that was like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I might have just hit my quota. I think I hit my quota for fast food intake. It's like a 2 times a year thing, and I did it possibly twice, and that's really not a thing that I do. I've had a lot of salads though, so that's cool. But yeah, so back to Bagel Time, not fast food. They're the absolute best. If you're ever craving Burger King, don't give in like I did. Just go to Bagel Time because it's a way better idea. Yeah, my sandwich was awesome, and it's taken every bone and muscle in my body to not go back and get it every single day since because it's fucking great. Other than that, though, I've just been chilling, man. I watched the Starting Line's second live stream the other night. So that was cool. They did Based on a True Story in its entirety. It's a cool record. It's probably my third favorite of the Starting Line records. They only have 3 full lengths. But it's just like the
not
first.
Go ahead.
The first one's so good. It's like a pop punk classic. Every single song is incredible, super catchy, and also just really, really good. The third one is one of the best records of any genre ever because it's not a pop punk record at all. It's incredible. That record is so far ahead of its time. Forced them to break up. Sales weren't huge. Whole thing. They now do shows. It's whatever. But the second record is awesome. It's really, really, really good. It's kind of in between though, where like they had to do pop punk stuff because it makes them money and allows them to be a band. But you can kind of tell they like weren't super comfortable with it. I don't know. It's a weird record, but I really do like it a lot. It's really, really good. So it's cool to watch.
Played in entirety.
That's the one they played. So the first, they did 3 live streams at Studio 4. They're the only band that I would. Well, there's a lot of bands, but they're the only band I know that, aside from Jimmy Eat World, shout out Rockwell, is doing multiple live streams, like all announced at once. So they announced these 3 live streams. They're doing 2 full records. So they did their best record in its entirety, December 29th or 30th or something. It's amazing. And then it's called Direction. And then they did Based on a True Story on Friday night, like this past Friday. And then the 30th, I think, of January, they do like a greatest hits set, which would be cool. It'll be predominantly that first record because every single song on that record is a hit. And I got tickets for all 3 because fucking duh. But yeah, so I watched that. It was great. And the Celtics are back after having a week off because of COVID, because who knew that if you weren't in a bubble, that COVID would fucking ruin everything? But it did.
Go figure.
How was your week?
My week was good, man. It was real good. What did I do? Oh my God.
Oh, I watched some of Hot Dog. That was cool. I know you're.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so we'll start there. We did a hot dog stream last week with the Woot and Annie comedy guys. We've been We've been getting the Twitch streams up and rolling and trying to find new ways of bringing content to audiences through that platform. I know Brian is in the middle of cutting that stuff up and putting it up on YouTube. We want to be able to have people go and check it out. Even if they missed the live stream, they could still go back and see the edited show. I am on an upcoming episode of the actual Alt Weekly podcast with Sean Connolly.
One of my favorite podcasts in the world, but especially in America and a little more dialed in Worcester, Massachusetts.
I think Sean does a fantastic job with his podcast.
does.
It's always very engaging and enjoyable to listen to. And I don't know, somehow I was able to land the honor of being a guest. I think it felt super cool and casual. I mean, I've talked to Sean 100 times at this point,
Yeah.
but I did feel it kind of like it was nice that he told me afterwards that he didn't prepare anything. It's like, yeah, I figured we just spitball it. And I'm like, all right, that feels good.
Is he like going for like our entire show? Like, yeah, I didn't really prepare for it. I just kind of showed up and fucking ran with it.
Little does he know that's how we roll.
How it's done.
We got a bunch of our orders out last week, so thank you everybody that ordered t-shirts. I'm gonna get some more out this week, and we're also thank you. Oh, sorry, I'm mixing up topics now. This coming Saturday, we have one more stream for Woot Nanny. It is the Sort of Late Show. It is a late night comedy show hosted by Sean Connolly, with Brian O'Donnell, Doug Gurton, and I've already forgotten the guests that are this week, but go find
Dave L.
Yeah, I think it's Ross Perot, Dave Chappelle, and Lincoln's Ghost.
That's pretty solid. I'm excited to see how Lincoln's Ghost keeps the earbuds in for the microphone. That's kind of the thing that I'm tuning in for.
Well, it's just Zoom lighting that I'm mostly concerned about.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. They can't see reflections. I don't know how he's gonna. Anyway, so that should be a good show. Come check that out. Wootenanny.com or Wootenanny. Fuck me. Twitch.com. Nope. Twitch.tv/Wootenanny comedy.
Oh, Travis has 50 fucking projects going on and can't keep his fucking URLs straight.
It sucks, man. It sucks. Well, so like somebody asked me not too long ago, like, oh, how come you never tell me about all the stuff you're doing? And I'm like, I mean, I do, but I don't want to I'm always whoring something. I'm always doing something. There's always something to push. So I won't tell the people around me, because if you wanted to know, you'll hear about it. Just listen to any of the channels that I operate. But I'm not going to tell you in person because I want to be friends and I don't want you to think that I'm just constantly selling to you. Buy our merchandise.
I'm a straight up whore, and I'm using any platform I have to just push out anything that I might even think about doing, even if I'm not a part of it. It's all about just letting the people know.
Well, speaking of whoring, we are now starting another project where Ricky and I've put together a little newsletter for y'all. Some of you have given us your email addresses through the website, SeltzerTime.com, and you are going to get rewarded with some ridiculous content for your inbox. And the goal is to do one of these a month. We've put together a fun, short little first one, and people will be getting that this week.
It's true. So when you're going through your probably multiple email accounts like I have, and you're just clicking one to delete all at the same time, don't click this one because it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it may end up in your spam filter. So if you can just check that for us real quick and say not spam, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Where did the spam filter come from? Because that is like the grossest word. Spam scares the fuck out of me. I never ate it growing up. It just like, I don't actually think I've ever had it, to be honest with you, but it just scares me. It's really gross. Have you had it?
Yes.
Is it
not
good?
Bad. It's ham.
Oh.
It's okay. It is derived from that spamming, like to hit them with a bunch of stuff. Anyway, spam. It's like processed pork. It's big in island countries. So like Dominican Republic, I've had it. Jamaica, I've had it. I hear it's really big in Hawaii. It tends to be in places where it's a little harder to get non-canned meat. Okay.
I don't know like anything about it. It just, when I was a little kid, I don't even know how it came into my life. I've honestly never had it as far as I know, but like something about it scares me. It like makes me very uneasy.
The name isn't great. Hearing the sound of it out of the can isn't great. It looks like the pink version of the cranberry mold that people use on Thanksgiving. It tastes fine.
We should land a advertising contract with a vegetarian association, and our tagline will be spam. It makes you want to be a vegetarian, because whatever the hell you were just talking about makes me never want to eat meat ever again.
All right. So, well, while I try to backpedal and get Ricky to get into a chicken nugget again, here's our interview with Ari, and we'll be back here in a minute. What is cracking, Fizzle Fiends? This week on the show, we are talking to Ari Lewis, co-founder of Brand Street. Ari, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for popping on, man. We're excited.
Ricky and I are a big fan of talking digital marketing and talking, strategy anywhere we can. And Ricky has been hawkeyeing your account on Twitter for, a couple months now. I feel like you've been kind of bringing them up.
Yeah, I kind of forget how you even came into my Twitter feed, but over the last couple of months, I've noticed you kind of pop up throughout the entire day. So
it was kind of one of those things that like, hey, these things align. Let's reach out and see, we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought me on. And before we start, Ricky, I love how your account says Naomi. It
was my girl. I'm using my girlfriend's iPad, and I think she used it to FaceTime with family either last night or the night before.
Yeah, I was like, I've never met a man named Naomi, but to
each his own. Boy named Sue,
Exactly.
That's too funny. You know what the best part is? That happens every week. It's like, it's nothing new. And nobody sees it. That's the best part. All right. So Ari, you are a digital marketing, specialist strategist, I guess is a good way to define it, or at least from my understanding of your work. What about that got you interested? How did you get started, and did you go to school for it?
Yeah. So I got into, crypto when I graduated college. Well, I was in crypto for a while before it was cool, I guess, as a joke. So I got into crypto in 2011, and when I graduated college,
got it.
I started a fund called Grasshopper Capital, and I think that was really my earliest foray into content. And one of the things I learned from raising money, especially as a first-time fund manager, was the importance of marketing and positioning yourself. People invest in people. And so much of that comes down to, how do you appear? How are you positioned? What's your brand like, right? You have no results. So, people aren't investing in you because you have good returns. They're investing in you because they believe in you. And so much of that comes down to how you market yourself. So I started writing content in the crypto space. And then I ended up selling the fund and working with my now partner, Chris Berry, who is the chief of staff of the Ohio Treasurer's Office. And he really taught me a lot about communication and marketing. He came from, a traditional comms background and traditional marketing background. And one of the things I began to realize as I started really building out my content since March, I would say, is really when I committed to building a newsletter, building podcasts, building an audience, was the importance of earned and owned media. I think, right, in digital marketing and in marketing in general, there's really this obsession with paid. And while I think paid is an important part of the funnel, people don't really spend enough time thinking about earned and owned media. So my whole niche, as I like to call it, is how do you capture attention without paying for it? That's sort of how I describe myself. In reality, what I do is, I help people with earned and owned media strategy and think about branding and community. But that's a really complex thing to explain, especially because most people don't know what the word earned media is in owned media. I love how everyone's oh, newsletters are so new, blogs are so, it's no, this is what earned media is in owned media. None of this is really that new. We're just making new words and creating new words. So that's sort of what I do in short. Since I built out my audience, my partner and I decided to launch a paid community 3 weeks ago. So we have 82 members paying for us now, which is really exciting. And it's not a ton of money, but, building it out, seeing where it goes and going from there.
That's awesome. I love the whole idea of earned and owned. Seltzer Time itself hasn't done any paid advertising at all. And then through my past jobs, I barely touched on paid media. It was almost all earned and owned. It was great to watch stuff grow feel like you kind of become, a little closer to your audience that way.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that, paid, you only return it once, right? So I think paid works a lot if you're trying to reach audiences that you just can't reach, and you have a funnel to keep them there, right? One of the things that like I think paid makes a lot of sense is when you have that funnel to retain the audience, right? But people just dump money on paid and they don't have that ability to retain the audience. And that's so important. Otherwise, you're just going to be continuing to spend money to try to acquire the same customer over and over and over. And this is really important for like commoditized products. I think so many people are competing like on Amazon, for example, in the DTC space. How do we get like top search query and stuff? And I think a lot of that's achieved through paid. But the problem is, that's not sustainable. I think, the smartest move for a lot of these folks in the long run to be sustainable is moving off of Amazon and, using Amazon as like an omni-channel approach of, it's just part of your
bigger strategy.
Yeah, bigger strategy. And that at the end of the day, building your own website, building your own brand, and, proving that it's something that can live on its own without Amazon is where people, achieve sustainable success.
I mean, yeah, I would agree. There's a lot to that, having a storefront or having a system that's as functional or as dialed in as Amazon has been able to build their thing, with the way that they're suggesting products, or the way, like you keep saying, they capture their attention of their users, and they know that they're going to lure users in with similar products or related products. So having that content strategy in place in somebody's personal business of keeping them retained on their website, or I see that strategy working more for products than I do for services, unless the service is entertainment.
Yeah, there's a good tweet, and I forgot what exactly it is. It talked about like, build this when you build distribution. Distribution is good for like content, but not good for networks, and networks is good for like. It just talked about like sort of the different channels to scale.
Sure.
And it's interesting because I think, and I wrote about this the other day. I think, for example, like an aggregator. Or something where you have distribution is really important for content plays, for example, right? So if you have, a great distribution, I think most content can succeed, right? And I talked about this. I gave a couple examples with Roku and Netflix. Roku's built like this neutral aggregator strategy, and now it's, it bought Quibi's content library, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it does. But, one of the reasons why I think a lot of people, now their valuation is really high, but one of the reasons why Roku I'm really bullish on in the long run is like, you look at how Netflix has turned around, right? There's this Netflix bump, as we talk about, where company or shows like You and Cobra Kai and Lucifer were good shows on other platforms, but now are great shows because of Netflix, because it had that bump. So, I think with content, distribution is really important. I think though with product, it depends. Sometimes it's like, in order to scale a product, you need features that require lock-in, and that is more about network effects than it is distribution, technically speaking. So it really depends on like what you're building, to your point. And
agreed.
Sometimes it is distribution, sometimes it's network effects based on how products are built. So really, it depends.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into Brand Street. So you started Brand Street, you said recently, right?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I think it's been now.
That's
exciting.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congrats. So what was the kind of the shift like in becoming a co-founder of that?
Yeah. So I started really like going nuts on Twitter and like really building content in March. I've gone from like 1,000 followers to like 9,700. I'm close to 10,000. Hopefully we'll get there the next day or two. And now I built my newsletter from 0 to like 1,400 subscribers. And I just realized there was an opportunity to build a community for people who aren't focused on paid and are focused on earn and own. paid communities are mature in some sense and nascent in some other senses. Like, I think on Twitter, a lot of people are in too many paid communities or are subscribed to too many newsletters. But in the real world, most people are not subscribed to any paid newsletters or any paid communities or even free newsletters, right? Like I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, and I always joked like a good barometer of technology of like if it's mainstream is if you go on the street and you just ask people like, have you heard of Substack? Right? If you asked 20 people in Cleveland, Ohio, like walking down the street, have you heard of Substack? Maybe one says yes. And I think that is sort of underlines the point that we're really in the early days for newsletters and like these paid communities, paid newsletters, because there's just a long way to go and there's a lot left.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, in marketing Twitter, it seems like everybody has a newsletter. Everybody's coming out with a newsletter every single day. Substack is all over the place. But prior to that, the only time I've ever heard of Substack was like 4 months ago. We had a reporter from Worcester, where we live. He left his job and started a Substack. And so we had him on the show to talk about it. And ever since then, I've seen it everywhere. But I mean, before Bill Shanner, I feel like if you asked anybody in Worcester about Substack, nobody would know about it.
I love that he keeps calling it Substack. Agreed. Substack, subscriber stack.
Oh my God. Yeah. My ticket stubs from Stub Stories.
I knew exactly what was happening. He has a thing that he's calling Stub Stories and he was just crossing tongues. But to that point, yes, either that or Medium or any of these other channels that are offering these writers, ability to get out and find audiences and build community and actually a living. That's the part that I think is super fascinating. I think it's what's happening with traditional media going the way it's going and how these like newspapers they're not being written by the local communities anymore. They're being written by these kind of like houses and getting dispersed out. And you're running a lot of the gatehouse media method where they're running a lot of the same stories. So this now provides a niche for these local voices to kind of really keep an eye focused on their community or whatever they want to be focused on. Maybe the niche is earned in whatever media. Just identifying these niches and providing this content is fascinating to me. I've always seen cable entertainment going this way, where you have the Netflix and the YouTubes where we can be subscribing to individual users, paying and supporting individual creators because we like the kind of content that they're making. Yeah, you're not paying for like one big bill for 500 channels that you don't watch a single one of them. You get to actually cater your interests and cater to and I think that's really what's going to drive the market in this, supporting independent creators and individual efforts like we're describing.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting as we start seeing this stuff get unbundled. I'm not really sure what the answer is if the unbundling of creators is sustainable. I think that people will pay for something more than content, right? I think what's really dangerous is creators and this creator economy idea of people paying for paid newsletters is scalable and sustainable. It's just not, because, I don't want to create content for 10 years, twice a week for the rest of my life. I know Ben Thompson does it with Stratechery, but I think he's in a really unique position. All he does is 3 times a week that. He has no consulting. He has no companies. He has nothing. Just does that. And I think it's very much easier for him. He doesn't even worry about growth anymore. He just does his stuff and the growth occurs naturally. I think he's an exception. Say it again.
You're right. That's an exception. That's the ideal place to be, where you can so focus on content, not worry about growth. And then you're just focused on the quality of your offering.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of these folks, especially in the media space, need infrastructure around them, right? We talked about, I've seen a lot where people need editors. They need people to help them edit their content. For example, say you're like you're a great video presence, right? You're a great host. Well, that doesn't mean you're a great video editor, right? If you're a great writer, it doesn't mean you're a great writing editor. So that infrastructure also is really important. I see the creator rebundling happening again. Everything Bundle's doing that on Substack. I think what's going to happen
Is
is,
it Substack? Did I fucking?
your Substack. No, we're talking about, yeah. Oh, you're talking about Substack, Ricky's thing.
Awesome. Perfect.
So I do think one of what's going to be interesting is YouTube's model. And I tweeted something about this today. I think a lot of these platforms are going to start making more tools for creators. The social media networks of the past optimized for building followings. And I think the social media platforms of the future are going to optimize for creator monetization. It will force people to create content that people want to see and that isn't just relies on advertising, right? So much of the content on social media is clickbait and is drawn to attract viewers and is not drawn to be the best quality content. And I think the shift towards that will create an ecosystem that's hopefully more beneficial for everyone.
But do you think it's going to be based on one person, like one company's network? Because like that's the part about it, the fact that it's based in YouTube, that I don't think is going to be the long-term viability. I think there's going to be a disruptor. I mean, I think we're already seeing it with TikTok, but there's going to be, whether Vimeo gets their shit together and figures out their terms of service better, like there's going to be a disruptor that offers that monetization to creators. Because there's long been said that YouTube creators are jumping off the platform and coming back on because it becomes harder and harder to actually earn real money on that platform. And they keep raising the bar. And it's not, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Yeah. So just to touch on Vimeo, so Vimeo is like a weird case. I think Vimeo's positioned itself differently than everyone else in that they're like a SaaS tech tool, and they've done a good job. And I don't know if they're long-term futures in the creator economy or if it's in the enterprise video, like editing and competing with like Adobe Creative Suites. So I don't want to put them into the equation.
You really think that's interesting? Okay.
Well, so the only reason I say that is I did some research on them for like an article I wrote a couple weeks ago, and they're building like more and more enterprise customer base. Like I think like Starbucks is a customer, Salesforce. They had like a lot of enterprise type customers, and it's just like weird. Like why would you have those as customers if you're trying to go for like creators, right? Now, yeah, they have a huge small medium business segment too. So I don't know like what their plan is, but I will say they've done a really good job of executing on we're competing with Adobe Suite right now. And the question is like, is that for creators as a competition or like enterprise or both? But yeah, in terms of like YouTube and all these others, the reality is these large companies aren't good at innovation. So like, yeah, we can talk about like, oh, YouTube's this huge company. The problem is, YouTube is just not succeeding on like, for example, photos, right? Like YouTube has like photo sort of, they have this like photo sharing system. I don't know if people like notice it. If you go on the YouTube app, you've seen it on like the YouTube app, right?
No.
Oh, I thought you said yes. Yeah. So like if you go on YouTube's app, like they'll sometimes have like photos that like creators or YouTube accounts post. And like, I don't think it competes with Instagram, but like they're trying to get in the photos, I guess. Right. And like,
I've seen what you're talking about. Like,
yeah,
it's like channel discussions.
Yeah, like I guess, yeah, like that's probably, and they're always photos though. I've never seen them as like plain text. Maybe they are though. I guess you can do that. I've never seen that before.
Huh.
It's typically the photos that get, so it only happens in the mobile view of it.
Yeah,
which I found interesting.
I don't know like what that's about, but like the reality is, and like maybe it's getting engagement, but like it's not gonna beat Instagram, and like YouTube's going into YouTube Shorts. Like I'm really skeptical of them like in the long run being sustainable. And that's why like Snapchat's succeeded, because like everyone was like, oh, Instagram's going to kill Snapchat. Now everyone's like, oh, Instagram's going to die. Like I hate all these comments because they're all wrong. Like
yeah.
These platforms have huge user bases. The reality is they'll always have value unless they just completely alienate their user base. And Instagram, that won't happen because guess what? The big creators make money on Instagram and they're not going to leave it. Why would they? It's like, I'm not going to give up money if I'm making money on it. It's stupid. So, yeah, I think, ultimately each company will have their respected part of the funnel. And it's just a question of how all these integrate together, right? Like like Cameo is really interesting. Could YouTube copy Cameo? I don't know. Could Instagram copy Cameo? I don't know. Like, those are sort of the examples.
I hadn't considered adding Cameo's features to Instagram, but they already have the users in that space. They already have celebrity users. And to monetize a personal video, that would be adding a small bit of code and a small bit of education to users.
Yeah. I mean, another example is like OnlyFans.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a natural integration with Instagram. Now, the problem is like Instagram can't produce adult content, but like, does OnlyFans work as like a safe for work type platform? Well, that's what Patreon was doing. Like, why doesn't Instagram introduce Patreon? And, to understand these like questions, and I think where people who are like only in media and don't understand product it's just not going to happen, because it takes away time from the product team. They have to focus on something else. And it's just not their focus, and they don't know if they can execute on it. So why are they going to risk a huge public launch to launch features like this that they just don't know will succeed when they're just continuing to print money? Now, if they like have, natural synergies that they are very sure can produce revenue, then yeah, it makes sense. But like, you put OnlyFans on like Instagram, even if you had like an adult feature for it, I don't know if it works, right? Because, well, then can Instagram be on Apple App Store? Can it be on the Google Android store? Probably not, because then you have, so there's all these complications that people are like, well, they could just copy the product. It doesn't work like that. And you see that with Instagram and TikTok. Instagram copied TikTok and it's not doing well because the platform looks bloated. And that's why Instagram is shifting to shopping. And we'll see what happens.
To that point, I've seen already that YouTube has now integrated Patreon style like stuff for their users, and you can now subscribe to an individual channel, much like you can on Twitch, and you could pay that channel for additional content. I can absolutely see that type of model working on Instagram, where you get access to a general feed as a follower, but if you want to pay $3.99 a month, you can get access to this additional whatever content. I mean, we're all going to have subscriptions out the asshole by the time we're all done, but I feel like that is the best way, to my previous point, support these individual creators that we believe and we want their content.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, as like, if I'm a product manager at these platforms, how do I remove friction? And not just for the audience, but for the creators as well. So like OnlyFans isn't a great example. The Instagram TikTok example is better because, Instagram with their Instagram Reels, it adds more friction because like the UI is changed. They have it like hidden. It's like not very clear. Now with the YouTube creator like subscription page, it's much clearer or much more clear in that you can integrate it very natively and it doesn't seem like extra. It's like reduced friction, and it's a great way to support people that you enjoy. Like Mr. Beast, he has like a $7, I think, subscription a month. And it's kind of hilarious. It's like, you get nothing from this. I think it says, it's like, you get like a sticker for lives, and it's just to support me. So I can like do like keep doing insane videos. I bet you he makes like money on it.
He does.
Yeah. Like 100%. And that it's just a native integration. Like if he did that with Patreon, it wouldn't work as well. And I think that's the key. And what's really, really interesting about these platforms is once you get the credit card on, that friction is much less. So because Google, if you use Google already, I think your credit card's integrated. That pay button, I don't have to put in my pay information anymore. It's just, I hit pay. And like, there's something about that psychologically. And I know there's studies done on this where it's an easier purchase than going to Patreon, having to make an account. Because the reality is, most people are probably not Patreon power users. They probably don't have 27,000 different subscriptions. Now like, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I just downloaded Patreon over the weekend because two of the bands I like came out with Patreon pages to like help support them while they're not touring. And the first one I signed up for, I had to like make an account, put in my info and everything. The second one, I just searched their name. It popped up. I clicked it. And it just said subscribe, and it gave 2 options, and I hit subscribe, and it automatically just started paying for it. And I was like, that was way too fucking easy. Like that makes me want to just find everybody and just start signing up for things. So the friction definitely was gone on that for sure.
Yeah. And that's like a key part with, we talk about network effects and distribution. That's like not distribution. That's network effects of, well, once you have a credit card on, you want to be on the platform with that credit card because it's easier to get purchases. Right. So like it makes, and like, it sounds like distribution, but in my mind, it's not, because it's more a network effect of, you know, that's where the people, that's the easiest, you know, frictionless experience. So I'm going to stay there. And that's just so important to understand and distinguish between.
So I agree with you. I mean, YouTube tried the YouTube Red model years back, and that was like an additional paid thing, and it just didn't work. Like they paid some of their creators to create additional content that was even more polished, but like you said, it kind of took away from what the charm of the platform was. So now they've basically just pop up a little thing that said like, hey, we noticed that you really like this creator. You can subscribe to their, I forget how they position it, but you could subscribe to their channel and give them a little bit of cake every month, and you'll get, you know, more content. I like the Game Grumps, 2 knuckleheads that play video games. And if I was a little bit better positioned, I would spend that money every month just because it's great. And I already watch a bunch of their content. I just haven't in my mind made that, okay, I need to support these guys. To your point, I think it's going to be easier and easier for people to click that switch, to not see the money actually leave the wallet, and to just hit a button and say, yeah, okay, screw it. It's only money.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so much easier to justify, right? When it's like $6, you're like, oh, it's just like price of 1 coffee a month. And yeah, of course it adds up, but you never think of it in those terms because you don't look at your bill in aggregate. You look at it as like each individual line item. And I think that's sort of the power of like those frictionless experiences, where with Patreon, you're thinking about it like before you make that first purchase. And probably you're thinking about it every time because you're getting redirected to the platform, and all of those new links or new steps introduce friction, which makes it less and less likely you convert.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This has been really fascinating. Clearly you are into media. Ari has a new media startup that he's not ready to announce yet, but we were going to talk about it a little bit, I guess. I mean, clearly you're super excited about it. Is there anything you could share with us?
Yeah, sure. So like, you know, my opportunity building like audience over the past year has really given me the idea to start like a B2B media company that I'm working on. And I mean, even Brand Street to a certain extent as a B2B media company, because we're targeting professionals, right? Like the average person is not going to like be a subscriber to Brand Street or even read the free material. And, you know, same with what I'm building now. I'm really focused on a professional level audience and like a business professional audience. I think that B2B media is sort of like this great opportunity that not a lot of people are paying attention to, because it's a really boring industry. Like, you know, you look at I always use one as an example, like the amusement park industry. There's like a publication for like amusement parks, and I'm trying to blank, it's like amusement park industry or something, the publication. And their like publication is literally a PDF that you have to click on. Like it's not natively, like it's not on a WordPress site. Like the content's not like articles that you can click as like just read it on the website. You have to click a PDF and like it goes to a PDF. And this company has, I think, like 3,000 like subscribers, but like they're all paying, and they're not like small people. They're like, you know, probably Disney World and like Cedar Park.
Sure. To those
right?
people,
like,
that information is super valuable.
Yeah. And they're like the only one that covers it. So you have to subscribe to it. Van Trump Report's another one I always talk about. I think they're making like, someone said they're probably in the 8 figures, which sounds nuts, but it's like an agriculture newsletter. And, you know, just a lot of people don't want to like write about this stuff because it's so boring. So you have to like be in the industry and be excited about it. And then you have to be good at media and content, which like very few people have both. So like the industry we're going into is exciting, I think, to most, but it's actually a very boring industry to write about, in the sense that it's a super technical industry where you have to be really technical to be able to write about it. And, I don't know anything about it. My someone I'm going to be working with does. So I think that is sort of this opportunity that exists in B2B media is you have really smart audiences that want content that they can't find anywhere else, right? You're not going to find agriculture content in the New York Times.
You might find it casually, but not to the extent that they already know the information the New York Times is presenting. They need to deep dive, and they're going to read scientific journals.
Exactly.
I completely agree. I worked for an engineering firm for 10 years, and one of the publications that kept coming in that I'd have to update the graphics every year was Engineering News Ranking, or ENR. And that is a fucking, man, the people that pay to get their shit in there, and then you have to like submit to get your projects be awarded, and then you have to pay to get awarded, and then you pay them money to go to the thing to get your award, and then there's regionals, and then there's nationals. And what does this do? It only helps accreditate your company to get more work, because it's just that like you need it to show that you're a good engineer kind of bullshit. And the whole thing is one big racket, man. It's just one big ass racket, and they're making easily thousands upon thousands of dollars, to exactly what Ari's suggesting. Like the content itself is insanely boring and really only appeals to civil engineers. But to those civil engineers, they love it. They all subscribe to it every month.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then just the reality of things is the civil engineers have nowhere else to go for the content. For me, like Digiday is a great example of that. And I actually do think they do good work, but Digiday is like the only place to really covers B2B media, or I should say like online media, and no one else really covers it. So you have to read them by default. And, when you have a hook that is as powerful as we're the only publication that people read in this industry, you can charge anything just from a subscription point of view and an advertising point of view.
Information is expensive.
Yeah.
I worked for a company when I first got out of college where I made a publication where their market was people that sold to bigger companies. So their market was like the people at Coke who sold to Walmart, and they were providing the super niche information, whatever, and charging out the ass for it. And all these mega corporations were paying for it because it's, to your point, extremely powerful.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. And it's 100% very powerful.
So that's fascinating that you're getting into this business. I'm good on you to identify a niche like that and just take it in head on. How do you prepare for something like this other than research?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same as like when people are building their Twitter following or building any type of audience, you try to piggyback off people who already have that audience and try to capture it from them, right? So like if I was building a newsletter, podcast, Twitter for like basketball in the NBA, I would like have certain like players that I try to reply to all the time. I would have certain reporters I would try to reply to all the time and just interact with them as much as possible and try to like go viral in their replies and build the hook that way. I think that's like really so powerful, hijacking other people's audiences.
Earned and owned media.
Yeah.
Seems like we just did a full circle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Ari, this has been great. We've been going about 40 minutes. Ricky, do you have anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you only through Twitter, but do you use other platforms to like help drive attention back to your Twitter, or is that kind of where you just live?
I'm starting with TikTok. I suck at it right now. I have like 102 followers.
I think we have like 80 followers on TikTok.
So yeah, I'm beginning to figure it out. Right now, my funnel is use Twitter and then hook people to my newsletter and podcast. I think some people use like a podcast as like a hook to like newsletter and stuff. I guess the way I think about it is like Twitter and then newsletter and podcast are on like the same line. And then underneath that is like my paid community at Brand Street. So it's like social, owned, and then paid.
Solid. Yeah, I feel like for us, it kind of started like our only powerful channel is our Instagram. We kind of drive our Instagram followers over to the podcast that way. And then hopefully from there, we drive them to everything else. But Twitter, I feel way more comfortable on.
Yeah. And it's all just finding where your audience lives and maximizing engagement on it.
Truthfully, none of our stuff was set up with like marketing in mind. It was more of just like a fun thing to do. And it's fun that it now just connects and we can build the strategy now that we have an audience and people listening and paying attention to us.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing.
Exactly.
You can always adapt it.
Exactly.
Last thing that I want to touch on, I see you're a fan of the Squarespace website as well. Big fan. big fan of the out of the box website. I mean, we became inner circle members or whatever the fuck their term is because I love it. I love their platform so much. I love how easy it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, it goes back to like simplicity. I think honestly, like you talk about like what are YouTube's like concerns or TikTok or maybe not them, but like Patreon. I think it's like Squarespace. I think Squarespace is like one of these companies that can really start putting a dent in some of these companies. I don't know if it's like YouTube, but it could be like a Cameo or Patreon. You know, they're introducing paid, and like if I have a newsletter or like I think Substack should be worried about Squarespace. I think MailChimp maybe should be worried about Squarespace. I think all these companies, like Squarespace is just this like company that can put a knife in all of them. And I just don't think people are paying attention to it.
It's like an AOL at times where it's going to provide all these things, but it's going to provide them seamlessly to these companies. I set up websites for one person businesses and they want to be able to update their own content, but they want to do it confidently and they want to have a website that represents their brand as aesthetically as it should. And that's where I don't feel confidently about WordPress anymore because I've handed over WordPress and I just get question marks back at me. But Squarespace, you literally, if you can update your Facebook status, you can update your Squarespace website. And that to me is where the internet's going. Simplicity, usability over flashiness.
Yeah, and I think like these hosted platform solutions are so powerful. I read Hacker News all the time, and it's like, oh my god, why aren't you setting up a DigitalOcean droplet and only paying $5 a year or something for it or whatever it is? It's like, you know how hard this is. Like very like technical people. Well, I shouldn't say very technical, but a lot of people like, cannot figure this out. It's not like something that like the regular person wants to do. They're fine paying Ghost $30 a month opposed to doing the self-hosted version of Ghost because it's not like easy. And yeah, I think Squarespace has done a great job of that. I still think WordPress has its, uses. I just think it's probably for the publisher, like the medium size and larger size businesses. It's definitely not for the individual and small business.
It's for the individual business that knows that can use a content management system that actually has HTML built in. Sure. But I agreed with you. I feel like it's all about functionality. Most people don't need websites that do a lot of high-end functionality or that have functionality that isn't being met by Squarespace.
Yeah. 100% agreed.
All right. This has been fascinating, Ari. I've enjoyed talking and rambling on about marketing. I don't know if our listeners, normally we're a little bit more about fart jokes, but I like it. How can people find you, find Brand Street, find all the information you want to provide them?
Yeah. So my Twitter is at amlewis4. Lewis is LEWIS. And then brandstreet.co. So brand, BRAND, street, STREET. So, just, follow me on Twitter and check out Brand Street.
There'll be links down in the description too.
Yeah. We'll be tagging you on everything. So usually the easiest way to do it.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Fucking spam. Who knew we were talking about that tonight?
Who knew we would talk about spam? Welcome back, guys. We're still talking about spam. What do we do?
It's true. It's fucking so true. Huge shout out to Ari. I started following Ari on Twitter some point in 2020, I think. Give him a follow. He's super interesting if you like marketing and social media marketing and all that.
Yeah, if all that jargon we just went through actually makes sense to you, you should probably go listen to Ari because he has a lot more insight and information to provide on his
It's true.
platform.
Yeah, he Ari kills it. Give him a follow on Twitter. He has a podcast. We'll link up to that for sure. And then if you guys want to sign up, use code Lewis for 20% off.
That's LEWIS. If you want to check out brandstreet.co.
Oh yeah, for Brand. I should probably tell you guys what you should sign up for instead of just throwing things out there. If you guys want to sign up for literally anything, Spam Weekly, fucking
some chicks only fans, just try using Lewis 20.
Use Lewis 20, it'll be fine.
That's awesome. Thanks
for
coming on. That was super fun conversation. We're always down to talk marketing, and I definitely think Ricky and I took a little bit of information away and were able to come up with some new ideas to make our own podcast and show and account go a little bit.
After having Ari on our podcast, we're actually going to now make our own podcast.
Yeah, go figure, right? Who knew?
No, that was a blast though. Thanks a lot, Ari. That was cool.
All right. I believe it is about that time.
Yay.
Stokes and pokes and stokes and pokes. Stokes and pokes and stokes and pokes. Banana stokes and banana pokes and stokes and pokes and stokes and banana.
I don't know why I keep making that noise. I fucking hate it. I'm sorry, everybody. It's so stupid. I feel like I'm like a Doritos commercial. Like, I feel like that should be a Doritos commercial. Hey, did you guys get Doritos? Yeah. Like, that's in a song, but I can't remember what song it's in.
It's definitely Dr. Dre, or it's somebody West Coast.
No, I feel like it's like a dumb fake song that I have stuck in my head. I don't know. Whatever. Not important. We'll figure it out.
All right. I don't know what song that is. Yeah. If you know, send us a message. Write it in the comments.
Please.
We'll pick the winner next week. I am I'm gonna poke. I'll start with my poke because we've been talking about some pretty heavy shit past few weeks. And tonight's no different. Sorry guys. I saw this on the internet this week and I was shocked. I was really excited. Kind of concerned as to where I could find this information and more. And then when I finally was able to get my hands on it, I was severely disappointed. And for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about,
I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about. I'm very excited to see what this is.
Clearly, I am talking about the oatmeal cream pie cereal that came out this week.
Wait, that's a thing?
So I saw this on the internet this week and was like, dear God, I need to try that. I love these fucking things. These oatmeal cream pies, they're one of those, like, not guilty pleasures so much as just like fat kid treats that if I'm in a depression circle, I will go spend the $3 on a sleeve of them, drop them in the freezer and eat them one by one throughout a day.
Okay.
That's my fucking jam. This, however, is not my jam. This tastes like, do you remember French Toast Crunch?
Yeah, I never had it because why would you ever not have Cinnamon Toast Crunch? But like,
that's exactly
I know
what it was.
It's a red, isn't it like a same branding, but red, it's a red box. Yeah.
It was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, weird younger sibling, and it just wasn't very good.
Okay.
That's what these taste like. Also, shout out to my sister Shelby, because if you're looking at our show, if not, go Google it. Those are buttholes. That's a big bowl of buttholes.
Yeah, those are. Why is this a thing?
I don't know.
What?
So, Little Debbie, come get a big bowl of Little Debbie's buttholes.
Jesus. What a name. That's
You better. I was hoping for so much more.
I didn't even know. I'm
That
all
being
set.
said, I've had 2 bowls just to be sure.
Well, you gotta, yeah. I mean, first is the worst. Second is also the worst. Means you shouldn't have it again.
Or it could be with what I'm stoked about. Because thanks to the people over at Resonate down the street from my house, the dispensary here, I was able to get my temporary medical marijuana card this week.
What?
And I am now a medical cannabis patient. So it was stupid easy, and I'm stoked. That's really what I'm stoked about. I am stoked with how easy it was to get my card. An hour and a half conversation, a couple times. Like, okay, let me rephrase this. It started with like a 20-minute conversation with the dude down at the dispensary. Once we were good there, we set up another call in an hour. I had a call with this dude, JD. That took maybe a half hour tops, 15, 20 minutes, maybe. He passed me over to a nurse practitioner. That took another 15, 20 minutes. And truthfully, I was delaying it because I just kept asking her more questions because I was so interested in the information she was giving me. She was fantastic. And then another conversation with this dude, JD. So all told, 2.5 hours with an hour in between where all I had to do was a little bit of paperwork. I had my cannabis card.
That's awesome.
What they don't like, they kind of tell you, but it's this interesting thing that I'm really learning about is that when you have your card, all the dispensaries want to date you because now you're like this fresh new thing. So you get a lot of first time deals at these dispensaries when you go in and use your medical card the first time. And a lot of them reset it at the year mark. So I just got from Resonate this week, I got some delicious lava cake and this awesome, beautiful Hike Your Own Hike brand. What was this? This was an indica, Punch Breath indica. Very tasty. $100 worth of product for $75.
That's awesome.
So that's a deal that they give everybody that uses their card there the first time.
Oh yeah.
So if you were thinking about considering it, if you want to do a plant-based alternative medicine, definitely go down and ask some questions. Find your local dispensary. There's plenty of dispensaries out there. You can go to Resonate, you can go to Buds, you can go to any dispensary.
That's dope.
Knowledgeable people.
Hell yeah. Knowledge is power.
Hell yeah, homie. And that's what I got for the people. What do you got for us?
That's rad, man. All right. What's up, everybody? So my poke is, I got to go with it because I made a note and I have to. The Worcester Peanut Gallery. It's not a real place. No. So the Worcester Peanut Gallery, literally just the people who find a reason to complain about every single thing that's going on in the city while pretty much bringing not a whole lot to the table. Did you know that if you don't like the way that things are going, you could do something and just start your own thing? That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm not going to harp too much on it. It's just like, it's getting a whole new level of pathetic.
Ricky and I long have been saying with this show, we never wanted to just be whiners. Nobody has time for whiners. We wanted to have people doing things or putting words into actions. That's what these things are, stokes and pokes. And if all you're doing is whining and not offering any information of how it can be done better, what the hell good are you doing?
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm all about questioning everything. It's literally what I've done since I was a little fucking kid. But
don't just talk about it, be about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that hard. My stoke is Snapchat and Reels, Instagram Reels. So Snapchat is doing a really fun thing where they're giving away $1 million a day. It's not one of those like, you can win $1 million. They're taking $1 million and they're like splitting that up between a bunch of different creators based off of views on they have their own like kind of feed. It's not based off of like how many followers you have. It's based off of this like feed thing. It's called Spotlight. So you click that and you like upload to that. You can do 100 videos a day. There's very basic human beings, not in a bad way, just like everyday you and me basic, making a shit ton of money off of posting their snaps. It's super cool. It's really exciting. I fully back the idea. These companies make so much money off of, us posting seltzer or anybody posting their coffee or whatever. Snapchat's the first one to just be like, hey, you don't have to be an influencer to make money off of this. If your content is good enough where it retains attention, you deserve to be paid for that, which is how it should go. So shout out Snapchat for being the first ones to do it. It's really cool. I've been doing a lot of research about it the last probably 4 or 5 days, and it's the real deal. Super cool. So
we literally just got done talking with Ari about there's going to be a disruptor and there's going to be people that change the market. And that's the kind of stuff that changes the marketplace.
yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And like
for people to make Snapchat a viable career all of a sudden.
Oh, people were doing that for sure before, but like
agreed.
This makes it so much easier. Like you don't have to necessarily like build the following and kind of go about it the quote unquote old fashioned way. But like, I don't know. I just think it's cool. I'm hoping these other companies they've already stolen the entire fucking Snapchat world and put it on their own platform. So maybe if they stole this business model, it would make everybody a little bit happier. So I think
question for you, like if you get 1 million plays on TikTok, do you get money from TikTok?
No, you work out a brand deal and you get paid that way.
Okay, so it's never
or TikTok
platform.
And I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure. But as far as I know, those are mostly brand deals. Sure. I don't know. I have no idea if TikTok is paying high creators. I don't think so. I've never heard of that.
I see like all these people are going viral on TikTok, but
people are making a lot of money on TikTok.
Are they? Sure. I see people going viral on TikTok, but I don't know who's making money. I don't know genuinely. Like,
yeah, I think
people aren't.
If you put together a string, it's like anything else. Like one thing could pop for sure, especially on TikTok. That's a whole different world. But like if you put together a string of them, you grow that following, by a significant number, then you can start working out brand deals, and that's usually how you get paid. It's kind of the same thing as Instagram. It's just there's a better chance of you making money on TikTok than Instagram.
Okay. Well, sure. I'm going to go start choreographing our dance. You want to meet up next week so we can film that TikTok?
I'll start stretching now.
Perfect. All right, people. So we're going to go. I have been Travis. You could find me on the interwebs at Hunchback Travis.
You can find me at DickChuck77, Seltzer Time Official. We're on TikTok. I'm on Snapchat. But a lot of it's Seltzers. Yeah, we're on YouTube. We've got merch. Do your thing. Tell somebody. Subscribe. I got to scratch my eye.
Don't do it. Oh, yeah, scratch your eye. Send us some love on SeltzerTime.com. If you want to sign up for the newsletter we're going to be sending out, that's where to do it. We love and cherish all of you, and we will check you all. We will check you all next week.
Yeah. Bye, guys.